So let's take a look now at some of the creation methods here. So we're going to look at a few methods that are available to us, answer some of the questions about how the terrains are created, and look at some of those creation methods in a little bit more detail. So civil terrains, we like to think that we add intelligence and we add rules into those terrains. So what we're doing there is we're maintaining some sort of historical provenance, wherever it come from, how have I been created, and this allows you to update the model as that source information changes. We provide this alternate symbology for sectional views and profile and plan and 3D models, but at the same time the civil terrains have actually got sort of multiple modes. They act differently depending on their creation methods, and so this is just a little bit of terminology that I tend to use to describe them, and I have sort of two modes that I refer to. A dynamic mode where we constantly maintain and update that terrain surface. We'll look at a couple of examples for that. And then we have a static where I'm ruled to something that's external that really isn't going to change. And again, we'll look at something there in relation to that. So dynamic rule terrains, what creates a dynamic rule terrain? Well, we kind of get that from our survey data, but predominantly, really, I tend to think of this with regards to creating from elements. So if we select the graphics in the display and create a terrain from those, and we want it to react to those. So we're building rules on that. But we also get it with complex terrains, clip terrains, delta terrains as well. And the typical use case for this is, that I think of, is about proposed situations. It's more at the sort of site modelling type level where you want the surface to react to design changes. Some advantages, well, it is always up to date. You're maintaining that terrain in sync with the elements it's based off. So it's really key to some of the technology that sits behind civil cells. We need them to, the surfaces that civil cell generates, to always be up to date. There is a disadvantage though, and that is mainly in terms of the terrain has got to monitor what goes on. So if you're dealing with large amounts of data, consider another rule, consider another method. And really what we're talking about here is 15,000 is the pre-check, but realistically I would say anything that's approaching 10,000 elements, you need to consider a different rule. And the rule that we'll be considering there is probably from a graphical filter. So we'll look at those in a moment.
So the terrain model is dynamically tracking the geometry. So as we make a modification to the radius, or any of the controlling elements, the terrain and the area template will update. So here we see the power of the base geometry that we've got applied. As we make adjustments to that base geometry, the terrain and the area template all update. Obviously we can undo those changes as well.
So really consider these dynamic terrains for a site design based level. Consider the amount of data that you're dealing with, and that's a key aspect to it. Think design, and I would certainly not approach an existing survey or graphical data in a drawing as needing a dynamic rule applied to it. So key aspect, think hundreds of elements as opposed to thousands. It's probably thousands as opposed to tens of thousands, but keep it down, keep it to a manageable level, and try and utilize the other rules that are available to maintain performance. So static rule terrain. So what are these? Well, this is another rule engine that we have, and this can be used in different situations. We create them from external files, ASCII import, graphical filters, point clouds, text, interpolation. And really what you're thinking about here is existing or legacy data. And you're creating a rule that is static, but you have the option of updating. Key advantage here, you're in control. You decide when to update. And it overcomes some of the limitations on the dynamic rules with regards to, I can have one rule for thousands of elements as opposed to thousands of rules on all these individual elements. So I have one rule that controls all of those elements, and that tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of elements if we needed to. There is a disadvantage, and that's change management, change notification. So if that external file updates, you need to be notified of that, and you need to know that you need to update it.
Let's take a look at what we mean by static terrain. Static terrain maintains a link where it's linked to an external source file. So here we have an external file to a local file. It could be on ProjectWise. What we're able to do with a statically ruled terrain is either from the quick properties or through the tree view actually go and update the terrain model from source. As a result of updating the terrain model from source, it imports any changes and updates the terrain model.